creations. If you're new to my channel and you're stopping by for the first time, thank you for stopping by. Welcome to my channel. Stick around a while by clicking that red button for more crafting on a budget, more everything on a budget videos to come. And if you click it again when the bell appears, YouTube should notify you every time I upload a new video, depending on the option that you choose in the drop-down menu of the bell. If you're interested in following me on social media, you can find those links in the description box below. What have I got going on for you for today? Today I am bringing to you a DIY Christmas village stand. Oh my word, I am so stinking excited about this DIY because this is something that I have wanted for so long. Growing up as a kid, I grew up with my mom every Christmas putting up a Christmas village, and she would add to it every Christmas. It got to the point where it was just this amazing Christmas village that just took over our living room. And because of that, that was a tradition that I knew that I wanted to continue on with. And so over the years, I've started a village, and every year I kind of add to it. But because I've never had a village stand, I've just had this one small section on a table to place it. Each year I just kind of pick and choose what houses are gonna go there, and I just kind of, I guess, rotate them in and out year after year. But I've always wanted a stand that I could put all of the houses and all of the things that I've collected on over the years. I just never knew what kind I wanted. I have narrowed it down, I figured one out, and I have made one that is amazing. It is quick, it is easy, it is budget friendly. It does take some DIYing, but I challenge you to do this because anybody can do this. You just need to say, I can do it, and do it. This is such a budget-friendly stand. It's a very versatile piece, and it's one that can be done on any size magnitude. It can be done in any color to suit any decor style, and that's what's great about it. And it is perfect for a village stand. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into it, and let me show you how I went about making this stand so quick and easy. I can hardly stand it, and the outcome is amazing. Alrighty, so getting started, I am at Lowe's because I need some wood because I am gonna build this bad boy. I'm gonna start off by picking up some 1x4. This said 6s. No, I need 1x4x8s because my stand is gonna be 7 feet tall. And so I picked up 6 1x4x8s. For the shelves of this stand, I'm gonna be using 1x10s, and these also come in 6 and 8 foot, and I believe 4 foot pieces as well. I'm gonna pick up 2 6-foot pieces, and I'm also going to pick up 2 4-foot pieces. And that is all the wood that we need for this. Now, if you wanna get some pre-painted wood, you could do that as well, but I will tell you, you're gonna pay a bit more money for it. I'm gonna be staining my wood, so I'm gonna stick with the raw wood. Now, here's somebody you don't see too often, my hubby. I enlisted his help for this trip to Lowe's. For this project, 2 sets of hands are definitely going to be better than 1 set. Because I'm building this stand, there is a bit of wood cutting involved, and since I have a saw, I'm going to do the cutting myself. I'm going to start off by taking 4 of the 6 pieces of wood that measure out at 1x4x8. We got 6 of them. I'm going to cut 4 of them down to 7 feet because this is going to be the height of my stand. Keep in mind that when you do buy wood at Lowe's, they do give you, I believe it's either 2 or 3 free cuts. And if you need more than that cut, they charge you. It's not very much. I want to say per cut, it's something like 50 or 75 cents. So if you take your measurements in and you have it organized, you can get them to cut your wood. And once your wood is cut, it's going to fit in just about any car. Because Jeff was with me and I have my own saw and I like to do woodworking and I like to cut my wood and just build things with my hands, I chose just to cut it all myself. It's a lot easier for me and I think it's just a bit more fun. So right now I'm cutting, like I said, the legs of my stand. And so there's 4 legs and I want my stand to be about 6.5 feet tall, so I'm cutting my legs to 7 feet. Once I've got the legs to my stand cut, these are the legs here on the sides, the 1x4s, and then in the center here, you'll see that that is the shelf. So that is the width that I need my legs to be separated by. And so just by placing the shelf in between them and putting the legs on the side, you'll get an accurate measurement of how long you need the crossbars of your legs to be. And so the shelf itself is actually going to set on these crossbars, but just to get an accurate measurement, this is how I laid it out. So now I'm going to cut 8 pieces at 16.25 because I'm going to have 4 shelves for this stand. I need 4 crossbars on each leg, and so 16.25 inches is what I'm going to cut, and I'm going to use the last 2 1x4x8s to cut those. And so you can see here that it's going to look like a ladder once you cut it. And again, if you just place your shelf in between them, you're going to get a good accurate size of what you need to cut those crossbars to. We are done cutting wood for now. The only wood that's left to be cut is going to be the shelves, but I'm not going to cut those until after I stain and put my unit together because I'm not real sure how long I want them to be. I actually want to look at the stand as I'm putting it together to gauge how long I want each shelf, because the shelves are going to taper from long at the bottom and go up to kind of give that tree illusion. And so these are all the pieces I have. You're not seeing the 4 legs off to the side next to the shelves, but I've laid out all of my wood on a piece of plastic, and I'm going to go ahead and stain all of my wood. The stain that I'm using is by Minwax. Minwax has an incredible selection of different colored stains, so there really is a color for everybody. I'm going to go with the colors that suit my house, and so I'm going to go with that rustic feel, and to achieve that, I'm going to use this mocha stain. Would you look at how gorgeous that is? At Lowe's or Walmart, they usually have these 2 different size cans. I'm going with this larger one that's $8 because I have a couple DIYs that I'm going to be doing, upcoming DIYs that I'm going to be bringing to you using this color stain. But if you just wanted to buy the smaller can because you're just doing this project, the smaller can is plenty of stain. Now I'm choosing to stain all my pieces before I put this piece together because I personally feel like it's going to be a lot easier to stain all the pieces this way rather than staining it when it's together. And so if you want to stain your piece after you've put it together, I say go for it. But for me, this is just the quickest, easiest way to do this. And I really wanted to do this project in one day and have it done instead of it taking several days. And so I feel like if the pieces are separated, it's still nice outside, that they're going to dry a bit quicker and I'm not going to have uneven drying, if that makes any sense. And so to stain this, I'm just using a regular paintbrush, and I'm only going to put 1 coat of stain on this. I'm not sealing it because Minwax already has kind of a built-in sealer in it, and so I feel like that was just the cheapest, easiest, quickest way to go about doing it. I am loving this color. I gotta tell you now, this mocha is absolutely gorgeous. And it is just the color that I'm looking for. It is so dark and rustic. I can't wait to stain all of these pieces. I want to say it took me about an hour and a half to do it, which really wasn't bad, but I tell you, my knees sure were sore after this from sitting on the garage floor, but it was worth it because in the end, I cannot wait for you to see how gorgeous this piece is. I will tell you that on the Minwax can that I'm using, it says that the drying time, that it takes 2 hours. Now, I'm not real sure under what conditions that happens under, because on this day, it was about 89 degrees outside. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't a cold day. And I thought, okay, this is going to take 2 hours. So by the time I'm done, I can wait about an hour, hour and a half, and my piece is going to be dry. 4 hours later, my piece still wasn't dry. And so I ended up putting this piece together while it was still a bit tacky. It was just a bit sticky here and there, and it was something that I really needed to get done this day because Jeff was leaving for work for 4 days. And so I didn't want to wait another 4 or 5 days to finish this project. So I went ahead and put it together while it was still a bit wet and just did some touch-ups with the Minwax after we had put it together. And now all that's left to do is to actually put this together. This really is such an easy project to do. So again, I'm going to put my shelf in between my 2 legs just to get a good accurate spacing. I don't want my pieces to move, and I feel like this is just the quickest, easiest way to do it, so I don't have to continue to keep measuring to make sure that my legs haven't moved. I can just kind of push them together. I'm going to start off with the bottom of my stand legs, and from the bottom I'm going to place my first crossbar here that I'm screwing in 8 inches up from the bottom, and I'm going to do that on both legs, both sides, if that makes any sense, because we're going to have the 2 ladders, I guess I'll call them. And so I'm just going to again measure up from the bottom 8 inches up, and that's where I'm going to put the first bar. This is the part where having 2 sets of hands really comes in handy, because I found that when I was screwing in those crossbars, my legs were moving, or one side of the crossbar would move while I was screwing it in. So if you actually have somebody who's there that can hold that crossbar down and hold the 2 legs from moving, it makes it a lot easier. When placing the crossbars, after I place that first bottom crossbar that was 8 inches from the bottom, I'm going to space them 17 inches apart every bar after, and that gave me the perfect evenly spacing that I was happy with. The screws that we're using are just regular drywall screws, and we're putting 2 screws on each side, which is a total of 4 screws. Drywall screws are very inexpensive. You can get them for just about $2 or $3 a 50 pack. Now you will see that I am wearing a face mask, and for those of you who don't know and are wondering why is she wearing a face mask at home, it is because my husband is a first responder. He is a fire captain for LA County, and he is exposed to COVID daily. Just about every shift he works, he is coming into contact with COVID patients, and so we have a daughter with an underlying health issue, and so we do wear masks when we're around each other because we just don't want to risk getting our daughter sick. And 7 months into COVID, this is still my life. You know, it's one of those things that, you know, for some people, they're not faced with COVID every day unless they're going out in public. And for us, it is something that we deal with daily because of the risk that Jeff, you know, has in bringing it home to my daughter. And so we just have to play it safe. And for us, it's just something that we're used to, and it doesn't really bother us. You know, it's just something that we have to do. Okay, so now we have got that second crossbar put in, and again, you can see that I'm measuring 17 inches in between. So it would be 17 inches from the top of the last bar to the bottom of the next bar. And you can see that just by me holding that crossbar, it really does keep it from moving. And for those of you, again, who are new to my channel, I am a bit of a perfectionist, and so you will see me continue to measure just to make sure that the bar hadn't moved, because, you know, what do they say? Measure twice, cut once. But in this case, I measure several times because I really just didn't want to have to worry about taking anything apart to fix it or redo it. So on each ladder, you will have 4 crossbars, which is going to be a total of 8 that you're placing. Once we get the crossbars done on this, we're gonna do the second ladder basically exactly the same way. Once we've got the crossbars put, I'm gonna show you how easy it is to attach the two. And I tell you, this project is super easy to do. If you don't have the tools to cut your wood, have Lowe's cut your wood and then get creative and challenge yourself and make a piece like this, because I promise you it's so worth it and you're gonna love it at the end. Anybody can do this. To attach the two sides, the two ladders together, I figured the easiest way to do that was to attach them using door hinges at the top of the ladder itself. Because this is a piece that I want to be able to take down and store, I want the shelves to be able to come out of it, and I want to be able to close up the shelving unit so I can store it in my attic year after year after Christmas. And so to do that, if you pick up some door hinges, these are very budget friendly. You have your choice of round edges or square edges. I'm gonna go with the square edges because they're cheaper. They're $278 versus $328. And I'm gonna go with the oil rubbed bronze finish because I'm going for that rustic look. And these are the 3-inch hinges. Now, if you wanna go with white wood and you wanna use these silver hinges, they've got those as well. But because I'm going for that rustic look, I'm gonna stick with these here. And so just by placing these hinges at the top of our ladder, not the 8-inch side, the 8-inch side from that bottom crossbar is going to be the bottom. From the last crossbar, I believe I had about 12 or 13 inches to the top. I'm gonna go ahead and just place, or Jeff is gonna do it, I guess, place our hinge right on the edge and then just screw it in. The other side of the hinge there that Jeff is holding on to, that's gonna be where we put our other ladder, and you'll see that here in a second. And I do wanna say, when you're placing your hinges, you wanna put them on the opposite side of those crossbars. This is actually the back side. You can see that the crossbars are on the front side on the ground. So when placing these hinges, you wanna put them on the back side so it will close that way, if that makes any sense. So now we're gonna take our two ladders, our legs to our stand, and place them top to top. And so by doing that, this is going to allow this to kind of close and open like a V. And you can see that we are wearing gloves because it wasn't completely dry yet. And again, like I said, I was super impatient. I didn't want to wait another few days to get this done when Jeff was gonna be home. And so again, this is another example of why two hands are better than one, because these pieces kept moving. And so just to kind of hold them in place on side to side, so that way it's not moving and your piece comes together nicely, you need to enlist somebody's help. No muscle is needed for this, by the way. This was a super easy piece to do. If Kayla would have been home, I probably would have had her help me if Jeff was at work, but Jeff was here and we really had a good time putting this together. Once the hinges are on, we're done. By picking up the sides, you can see that this is collapsible. It folds together nicely. And when I place it, I'm gonna place it in this position here, which is that tree position or an upside down V. Now it's time to go ahead and place my shelves and see what size I want them to be. Again, I didn't cut my shelves yet before I stained them because I wanted to see how long I wanted each of the shelves to be. And again, I didn't really want to wait for a long drying time of the shelves to dry. I just figured it was best just to stain them all at once, and then I would just touch up that edge that I cut. This bottom shelf I am keeping at 6 feet long. I like the length of it. And so like I said earlier, I'm gonna make each of the shelves a bit shorter than the shelf below it, kind of tapering up, and I'll give you the exact lengths of each of the shelves once this is put together. And there you have it, my DIY Christmas Village stand that is meant to resemble a tree for the bargain price of $60 and a bit of DIY. I couldn't be happier with the way this looks. This is one of those pieces that can collapse easily. The shelves are just set in there, so all 4 shelves come out and this piece can fold up and be placed up in my attic and stored easily, and year after year I can easily bring it down and it has an easy setup. The shelves measure out from the top down at 32 inches long for that top shelf. The second shelf is 45 inches. The third shelf is 58 inches, and that bottom shelf is 72 inches, which is the full 6 foot length of the shelf originally. I went with the 7-foot shelf. You can alter this shelf to any size you want. You can make it bigger or you can make it smaller. You can have less shelves on it than I do, but because I have 10-foot ceilings, this space here by my front door allows for me to have a piece that is almost 7 feet tall. By the time I open it, I believe it was about 6 feet, maybe 5 inches. And you can see that this is a very light piece. It doesn't take 2 people to assemble it or move it and put it together. And so I want to show you here how I went about keeping the legs from separating. I picked up these cup hooks. I've had these in my stash for a while because I have used them in previous Dollar Tree DIYs. And just by screwing it into that bottom slat on each side, it's gonna allow me to place a chain. And I picked up this chain from Lowe's for $9.98, and I picked up a bit of a bigger one that I needed because I have an upcoming DIY that I'll be doing using the chain, so it was worth it for me to get a bigger one. And just by placing it in the hook on each side after you've sized it to whatever size you want your chain to be, which would be the distance between the legs, how far you want your legs to separate, you can very easily just place your chain, and once you completely separate your legs aren't going to go any further than that chain because that chain is stopping it from happening. And so I think the distance that I have between mine was about 4 feet 3 inches, and the shelf itself that goes across that bottom bar is the 6-foot shelf. And all that's left to do is to go ahead and place the shelves. So this here is the 72-inch shelf, which was the 6-foot shelf. And you can just very easily slide it in. You don't have to worry about the legs of your unit separating. I'm not going to screw these down again or glue them down because I want that capability of storing this and taking it down. And so this second shelf here from the bottom is, I believe, the 58-inch shelf. And then moving on up, and again, these are very light pieces of wood. They are not heavy at all. This is not a 2-person job. This is something that you can very easily put up and take down by yourself. Now this third shelf from the bottom is the 45-inch shelf, and then the top one is the 32-inch. And there we have it. That is it. With a little bit of DIYing, I saved myself a ton of money. I could not be happier with the way this turned out. This fits perfectly in this space, and I cannot wait to get my village up on it.
Now I know that woodworking isn't for everybody, but really this DIY stand is so easy. It has very minimal work involved. Really, like I said before, the main part of this was waiting for that stinking stain to dry, which took forever. It ended up taking days to dry, and I'm not sure if it's just because of the weather elements. The weather was going up and down. We have kind of humid weather right now where I live, but once I got it all together, I just set it in the garage and let it dry, and once it was dry, I went ahead and brought it into the house. I was just glad to get it done in that one day when Jeff was home. This is such a budget-friendly stand. It can really be done on any magnitude, a larger one, a smaller one. Does it really need to be made for a Christmas village? This could be for anything because it is such an awesome rustic decor piece, and it really is going to be one of those pieces that everybody is talking about. And when you tell them that you made it and for how much, they're gonna be amazed. They'll probably be asking you to make one. Even if you have to have the wood cut at Lowe's, it is still a very budget-friendly alternative to buying one that is already made, because you're gonna pay over $200 to $250 for one. And I did this for $60. I can't wait to show you how I decorate this stand with my village. I am so excited about it, so you'll have to stay tuned for that upcoming video. Please make sure to give this video a big thumbs up.
And let's get this video to, you guessed it, no you did guess it, because we're gonna go with 6,000 likes, because each and every one of your thumbs up and those comments that you do leave down below, they really do help my channel to grow, and it helps YouTube to notice me just a bit more. Until next time, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic day. Stay happy, stay safe, stay healthy, but most of all, stay positive, and bye for now, everybody.